Hello guys and welcome. I'm doing a IEM Game 1 analysis. This will be uploaded obviously to my YouTube channel. So I'm gonna start this. We've got the background music going and I'm just gonna discuss like some of the strategies and implementations that some of the NA players do. One thing to do note that like in all the IEM games they did have a fairly neutral plane where it allowed every team to be able to go to their spots quite easily, so it was either directly west or east plane or north or south, all centers, and there were no military circles after watching majority of them. So as the plane goes over, I don't know why they do this, but obviously you see every team has a set position that they're going to go to. So for example, if your method right now, I don't know if they go in this zone or not, but they always seem to drop Pachinki, and that is their main destination, and that's where they'll always land. This is intel. After talking to the NA players, this is intel from scrims, general practice, and also just public games. You'll see a lot of them not really caring too much of their public rating, but they'll just drop in their designated excuse me, I've got a sore throat, designated spot, just because they know how to loot efficiently if one, there's no one there, or two, how to play defensive in their given landing point. So Noble in every one of their games went South George, which is something to note, as well as TSM did go North George. This obviously was scrims for some reason. Now here TSM actually couldn't make it to North George, so I think their whole idea was to find a vehicle. As you see, Smack and Noble right down the bottom here. I'm just going to pause this real quick. They both go for the UAS because TSM's idea is to actually get over the water right there. Vis was landing in this area here mainly because there is a bike or vehicle spawn that spawns there as well. AIM PR was a little bit off. I believe the spawn's actually back up there, but they were all aiming for vehicle spawns, and that's the idea. Something they could have also considered was if they saw Noble coming here, instead of contesting them so close, they could have also gone crates, and then looked for a vehicle spawn there and still go to North George if they wanted to, or just looted crates. That was something weird that I don't understand why they did. AIM PR sort of must have called strangely in that game. Now, as you see here, this is where it gets a bit interesting. So, of course, Method did land Pachinki. Everyone's landing in their specific places that they like going. Scrims told everyone this, and you see GG and DC, they all go up cam side, which is a very low chance of getting a zone up here, but it's very, very good loot because not many people actually contest it. Something to note is also like the high density of players in the center zone. So once they do start moving, you're going to see a lot of these teams here at a really big risk of like getting out really early. Same thing in this path here, like FaZe, CE, they have a very difficult path to actually get to the zone, and EG actually has a very easy path if bridge is safe. Most teams won't even assume that bridge is safe though, so they might even go boat. We'll see after this. So getting down right here really early is so bad for your team. So they obviously contested for vehicles, and he's just wasting a lot of time. He should have just got out of the vehicle and started punching him. And as you see here, Noble actually wipes TSM because TSM doesn't know really what they're doing at South George. I think Vis was looted a building, tried to cross, and just got smacked for it. Right now, most of these teams are simply just looting, so it's kind of like the boring part of the gameplay. And you won't really see much until the circle either starts coming in or any team decides to try and get good positioning in the first zone. So I'm just gonna speed this bit up until we start seeing some movement on the map. Oh my god, it's loading, really? Come on, YouTube, what's wrong with you? You can see the spectator still having issues. In times 1 it looks okay, but it's still very rigid. Something that NIP did that not a lot of teams after getting intel was that NIP was sort of the wild cards in a sense. They never actually played scrims at all, so pushing alliance out of their given spot is sort of good in a sense for them. Now AAA is in a really nice spot, and I can't really tell what team that is. I think it was Penta. Penta has a really weird looting strategy where they're almost all spot looting to get loot. I'm gonna actually go back a little bit. Something to notice here. You'll see it in a lot of games. The timer right now, we need to be spectating someone. Okay, right here. The zone's coming in at 38 seconds. So if you counter that back, it's probably about 50 seconds. You see majority of teams now are already getting into vehicles, especially FaZe, because they have the furthest distance to cover. However, GG's actually still prioritizing loot. So is Smack, because now they're 2-man down, which is really smart. These two should honestly tank the first zone and come in late, because you should presume Noble will actually leave South George. Alright, so you start seeing everyone come over. I'm gonna drop it back to 1.0 because for some reason this YouTube can't handle it. This team's in a really rough spot. You never want to be in a situation, especially even if it's first circle, where you don't have a vehicle. Even if you are in the first zone, you'll later see why they get really... unless they get incredibly lucky, you really need vehicles in the first to maybe even like 4th to 5th zones in competitive. So you see everyone moving in, and some of the strategies that NA teams are implementing that you don't see too much in any other league, especially EU. Well, you'll see a lot of them, as you see here. Penta's shooting at FaZe. He's running a 2-seater bike because it's one of the hardest things to hit when it's going full speed, and they use that to scout teams. So the bike will go way far ahead, And then the carrier vehicles will come after. And if he gets shot in a specific spot, then they know to angle left or right more than him. This is really good. You try and get as many vehicles as you can. And even having one person per vehicle is really good. Especially since a lot of people just like blowing up the vehicles. It'll stop your team getting 2 men down rather than just one if he gets cucked in a vehicle. This is really bad by Liquid, but I think they are really low on vehicles, so they don't have an option. If they go right past the player, the problem with the bike is that it's got no cover. So giving them twice the amount of targets to do, twice the amount of space to hit a player is really bad. I really want them to show map right now. Because you see here, no one's gone Prim. Normally C9 sometimes goes there, but they didn't. So Prim was completely open. If you were a desperate team right now, it may even be a good call just to go into Prim, because you can lock down the small part of Prim and still be safe. DC is choosing to take these 2 buildings, which is really bad. The hold on this compound is like actually really hard unless you're in this center double. Mainly because this whole hill can see through the double windows really easily from every angle. And they're holding here, which is really bad. If I was them, I would move and spread in this compound here. Even though there is a player there, it's a solo. And you could always trade that. Because kills are actually worth 10 points in this, compared to other comps. So stealing's going to be a massive thing. Now as you see here, AAA was actually the winner, and they're coming in late to the first zone. The reason for this is that they found boats and chose the boat option over coming in really hot, which costs FaZe a lot of resources. One of their team members died just from driving in to the first zone, which is really rough. Luminosity is holding up in the top half of Gatkar, which is a really good spot considering a couple of teams like GG are going to come through here and they don't really know where they're going, because going George right now is not an option. At this sort of point in time, you want to be sort of in this inner circle that I'm marking now. The reason for this is that even if you do get fed on the outer circle, you're not going to be in the center of the next one. So that's why you see most teams are in it, other than AA coming in close, and I presume they'll probably stop at Ferry or stop at the bottom of the bridge. So every team's in a good spot to deal with the second circle, other than Noble, War, and GG's coming in now, so it'll sort of depend on how they go. AA is playing this really smart because most teams generally won't sit on the border of that first circle, so they're sort of playing it so that they can get way more loot. But the problem they'll have is that they don't have a vehicle for the next zone if they do get unlucky. Scoom's in a really bad spot here, and I was watching this and it was legit, he never peaked once, so I'm not bothering watching that. So this is the next zone. It was a very, very nice center zone, which you could probably see happening because it's less likely that it will feed water. So it won't really feed top side, it won't really feed bottom. The only chance it's got is more hugging the right side. Which AA can either go ferry pier or they can come into this compound here. I think they will go ferry because it's more of a safe entry point. Or they could loop all the way around if they have enough fuel. They have the risk of getting shot out here, so it's kind of risky. But it'll put them in a better position because there's a lot of hill cover here if they don't have a vehicle. EG's border hugging, they somehow made it over. War now has to move. Noble has to get in vehicles, and Noble's got C9 and I forgot their name, RN, to deal with. War has to come into pretty much an open field where Luminosity will be able to see them unless they just choose the 2 double whites right there. Which would probably be a good call unless you presume someone's there, but you should be able to scout it. See, this is just the battle. Scoom's playing this smarter, not peeking because he doesn't need to. This team doesn't want to risk pushing out because they have no idea where his other team is, which is also the right play. So, like, they're just... Spectators don't really know what they're doing. I wouldn't be watching that. So AAA actually decided to go all the way around, which is very smart, but it also puts them on a disadvantage at some point because the blue's going to come in very soon. Now War Rock doesn't have vehicles, so they, as Luminosity has decided to move, they should be able to see them even if it's way in the distance that they're running in on foot. C9's in such a bad spot here. I don't know why Frolic is even here. Unless he got really badly cucked and had to get out of his buggy. Yeah, he did. Okay, he lost a wheel. That's understandable. And I think Scoom is in the same situation. Yeah, so there's his Dacia down there. So the only time this happens is if you lose a vehicle or are forced out of the vehicle that it's going to blow. He honestly doesn't even have to move here. He's in a really good spot. Like, the only problem he has, like, is... If I was in his situation, I would actually peek once or twice every now and again just to sort of see if they are pushing you. Because some teams actually play really aggro and could come out of this compound, even though if your team was around, they'd be at a disadvantage, but they still do some stupid stuff. And then I would be mainly focused on this hill behind you because you have no intel if anyone's pushing behind, which you can see there are a couple players like behind him. So this zone's really passive. Everyone finds a compound other than TSM, obviously rank tanking right now. Everyone finds a compound and pretty much bunkers down because there's enough compounds to share around, especially in these zones where you don't really have to panic too much. Everyone will stay alive unless something really random happens, like two teams land at the same spots. Now here you see AA finally coming into zone. Now it's 12 seconds before the zone moves again. So they either get fed or they have to find vehicles right now. Which is the real main disadvantage of using boats. Once you use boats, especially on this map, you have no other movement options unless you get fed quite consistently. Now EG should see them, but for some reason they're not scouting correctly. They're in a real bad spot. They've chosen a hill. No idea why. It doesn't give them any cover from any spots. They're just using their vehicles as cover. It's such a bad position to be in for no reason. I think like half their mindset is that they're gonna find teams coming, like rolling through past them, and they're gonna catch them out, but no team would have come from like north from Prim, so they're not gonna find anyone, and they're just putting themselves at a disadvantage. Now this is something to note. Tempo Storm actually got this compound, which is really, really good because there's so many doubles that you can actually hold one individually. So if you ever do get breached, you can sort of deal with it. However, they're running 3 in Garage, which is okay, but their 4th is way away. Alliance is using a really good strat, which is in the actual swamp, which has a lot of cover too. So people don't automatically know you're there when they arrive. So it's not bad to actually sit there. I'm just playing music right now in the background just for a sort of something to listen to, because I don't like the commentators and they just call stupid stuff. Like they're watching this right now for no reason at all. Scoom's watching his angles correctly. The only thing I would add to it, like they're not going to run blindly straight at him. So you'd always have someone wrapping left or right. So he's watching the left and right. If he sees someone left or right, he knows someone's pushing straight at him as well, which is really smart. The only thing he needs to also do is watch behind him. I guess he's presuming that they'd have a vehicle and he'd hear it. Okay, now this is the next zone, and as you notice, look at everyone getting in their vehicles. The reason for it is that they want to take a compound that's not already taken. That being said, people that are in the zone right now are taking a position to shoot at people that are going to be coming in. They're not really focused on anyone else in other compounds, because even if you do knock them, they're just going to get back up and they'll lose a helmet for it. So you'll see Noble come in, probably take this compound here. If C9 doesn't take it first, that's a really good compound to hold. Or even this one here. And then you'll start seeing whoever gets the compounds first, they'll quickly set up and start engaging the other teams as well. The priority is to get into this third zone. So Tempo Storm's got a really good spot where they can see a lot of vehicles moving around them. Too bad they can't actually knock any. Because everyone's in solo cars, it's a lot harder to actually get knocks on vehicles driving past. Unless one, you get a really good knock on the one person in it, or you blow up the vehicle. That's why everyone likes running single cars now. If there's 2 people, there's more, 50, there's a 200% chance other than the 100%, because of the double space that the people are putting in now. Methods moved here and they get those knocks, Energy Turtle. But his team is in... If you look at his team's positioning here, he's like one of the only ones in this garage building. So one can see him from the double behind him, and they're taking shots now. But as soon as they come into this angle here, his team can't see them. And now they finally start seeing them when they come over the other side. Which is a really bad positioning. If they were all in the garage, they would have probably wiped maybe their whole squad. Now rip Scoom, dude. Scoom got decked from behind, which I called actually. While that fight was going on, he wasn't watching behind and he got rolled. So FaZe is moving in. FaZe only has 2 people. This is the reason why you take solo vehicles now. Because they've got more to shoot at through the vehicle. More likely chance to hit someone. Now you'll see them going into control 3. And you'll probably think, why? Oh no, he hasn't yet. Wait, there's 3 in there. Oh no. That's really bad. Now, AA got a really good compound off this. Wow, this music's so depressing. So all you see now is just people taking compounds, people taking defies. Now that the whole massive movement has stopped, you just need to find people that are in zone or out of zone and see what they're doing. Alliance plays is really smart because he's ranked. He's pretty much rank tanking, and rank tanking is the term where if you want to get don't want to tank your rating in public lobbies, then to get a higher placement you just play really passive and turtle. So what he could have done here is shoot Drazzle as he's passing. He had an opportunity to. He's by himself. Yes, it'll tell them that he's there, but they're not stupid enough to realize that he's... Like, they're already taking another fight now, so it would have been perfect time to actually shoot him. Would have been a free kill. You would have been able to push right or even push straight and not have the issue. Now, as you see here, all these guys are on foot, so they've got one of the hardest things to do, which is run and gun through blue. So Sigsy is actually deciding to run up to where he heard them running off to, which is a bit interesting. I think his mindset is to get to closest to the next circle, because now he's getting shot at, and Penta's in a real rough spot. So in the end, Noble actually took this over C9. C9 decided just to take the closest compound, which is to play it really safe. Could take the closest closest that is vacant. Noble ended up taking this one, so C9 would have shot at them while they came over here. TSM rank tanked all the way in and found a free compound right up north, which should never happen. Noble wanted this compound here because it's easier to hold than this one, because there's a massive hill right here. CE's in a bad position because they're in vehicles already. They're on a defilade. And then you've got the ones to note are the ones that aren't in vehicles. So for some reason no one's in this compound here because it was half out, but LG doesn't have a vehicle, so they actually get a free pass in here. Tempo Storm got hella fed. Method got fed. EG will breach Method. They have no other choice other than to take this hill here, set up vehicles and just hope for the best, and then they don't have vehicles for the next zone. So I think EG's strategy is just to push into method right now. DC's center zone, which is horrible. They don't have vehicles. Let's just see where they decide to go. So they're deciding to take the ridge, and it's just really bad for them. If they manage to finish him, is really good. Yeah, they did. No, it got stolen. So DC stole that kill. Now EG's in a horrible spot. Method's trying to watch DC, but EG's just in such a rough spot now because they can just get wrapped on by Luminosity. And they have nowhere to go from here. Unless they just like full book it into the next zone with vehicles, they have no way of getting out of this situation. They 100% needed to breach them there. And just go for the trades. Now this is something that is a bit interesting. Liquid got breached. I'll just go back so I can show you. So Liquid got breached, right? They got breached. And their calls after watching Hayes' analysis of his team and their decisions is that they've already moved before CE breaches them. So the strategy was for Liquid to move up here, make sure it was safe, and then Moleman would come over. Because CE breached here, Moleman's now stuck. To make things worse, Nip has run into this zone without CE noticing them when CE should be watching this, and made it even worse. So now Liquid's in a real bad spot because they're split. CE doesn't actually know Moleman's there. Now Nip's in a bad spot because this is like the worst building to actually trade from, especially if you're dealing with pancake building. They have so many options to peek at you from, and you only have 3. Now, I don't actually know how War got here. They had no vehicles, and they somehow managed to get all the way over here, so they must have at least found 2. They don't have them in play anymore, though. Right, I'm just going to call them right now because I actually don't know what RN means. But they're setting up their vehicles to try and keep them in play because they're going to have to move here. The problem with this is that it's unlikely that you're going to get fed here. C9's coming in here, and for some reason they just don't even check. I don't know their mindset. Like, I don't think anyone checked that building. Or they checked through this window. And McCoy's just got the greatest rank tank ever. The problem with what C9's doing now is they've just came into 2 other teams and no way to get out. And then Frolica just got, like, pretty much head one shot. One bead. And now they're just trading. So McCoy actually got 2. Without C9 even seeing him. And now C9's worried about the others and it's too late. McCoy's just... I think McCoy's still alive. I'm pretty sure he's just sitting in the blue. Yeah, he is. He's sitting in the blue. He's hoping that they finish the rest of C9 right now. If I was McCoy though, I still wouldn't fight them though. It's a risk that you get wiped out earlier. So he's now spamming meds, and he's happy that C9 actually got wiped. That gives him the option to move if he gets a full med off. Now he'll run. He should run here. No, he's still rank tanking, hoping they move. They're not going to move for a while though. So I'm just going to have a look at the map real quick. Is it going to show me? Please? There we go. So this is the next zone, and this is why I said that pushing this compound was so bad. Because now Nip is down. Liquid got smoked while that fight was happening by AA. So they're in a real tough spot with Moleman being the last alive. In this situation, if you were Moleman, you would 100% like just spam med this zone. Because you know that there's only one building, which is Methods, that's in the zone right now. DC's in a really good spot. Luminosity's gonna get probably cucked by Sigsy here actually. Somehow he made it in. So EG actually is still alive. They've pulled back. Alliance is in a rough... He's in an okay position for a rank tank if he doesn't get spotted. These teams will have to push out, and I believe just Tempo Storm has this mad Defi right here which they can peek from. So they're in a really good spot just to push off their compound. AA has one of the hardest routes here. They have to go through Method, they have to go through Noble. CS is on the hills to their right, and then you've got the squads that'll be running in with the blue. Is this where Smack drives into him with a US? Or has he already done this? Can't remember. I think he already did it. I think I skipped it. So now, yeah, RN's going to get in their vehicles and try and move. Which is the right play. You need to have your vehicles up in this zone. Especially yours, as you can park them at a real close Defi right at the border of the circle and play from that. The problem is they ran into Odin. Now AA got a really nice play on Noble and just wiped their whole squad, which is really good. Because Noble didn't even get a single kill off them. Now the problem with RN here was they waited for it way too late, which gave them time to move and get out of the swamp to shoot at them. Now AA moved here, which is in zone. They just took Method's spot. They now have Method to deal with, but Method's going to get pushed out of this compound in the next zone. And Moleman actually waited till CE left and is rank tanking this all the way in, which is really smart. I think he's now spamming, he's going to be spamming meds. Because this is where a lot of teams get wiped. So CS ended up breaching Method. And the problem why some of these tournaments with how sort of worth killing people is, if you take out a high amount of frags, it adds to your points ridiculously. So instantly finishing someone when you have the ability to is just so valuable. AA now have a free push because Molman is still outside zone and just tanking it. For some reason, Method played this really badly. Because Energy Turtle was too focused on the north, and when they finally breached, he didn't have a position to cover his team. So he's got one knocked in the other building, and they've got a really nice spread on him, knowing exactly where they are. So he's in a bad spot right now. This is the play that confuses me. This is a really confusing play, and I don't understand this call. Okay, so if I get a map, do I get a map anytime soon? No, I don't. So if you see the minimap right here, you 100% know that there's one Method player left. You have 3 people. You can push the building and force him to trade. And at best, you leave with a two-man group. At best, you actually leave with your 3-man group if he doesn't finish him. And then you know that this whole section is clear here because they've been watching it the whole time. So you almost have a completely free run into zone. But instead of doing that, they choose to wrap right, which you have no intel of any other players because there's so much cover over there. They try to do that, and for some reason, like, why would you assume that there's anyone, like, northeast with no cover there? So they just run right straight into EG, which is really strange to me. And then they just die to blue. It's such a weird call. Now EG's screwed for the pure fact, like, Energetic Turtle died to zone. He just wanted to rank tank this. He could have honestly run in, but he didn't know that they left. So if he chose to run this in, he could have actually got a higher ranking there. In his situation, over rank tanking, so if you're going to die to the blue anyway, if you don't have enough meds to survive it, I still would just run anyway, right at the edge of it. You're gonna last at maximum 2 more seconds if you tank the blue, whereas you can survive it while running the whole way in for as long as possible. Now EG's fucked by DC. DC's got a good spot. They took out LG behind them when they got fucked by Sigsy. And Tempo Storms had, like, the zone for the whole game. So of course they're going to be in this situation. They never got breached. They've just been sitting in their compound untouched. None of them have got knocked. AA has had the hardest route out of all these teams. DC had a free entry after they wiped Luminosity running in from blue. The problem with this is that now AA's like a 3-man. They've got no vehicles to cover themselves. They died to the blue, which he probably left it too late to run in, or he was fighting someone else as he was running in. Now this is what confuses me. Okay, AA's playing this smart, and unfortunately they get cucked because they got fed the zone. DC plays this well as well. They're playing in 2-man squad, so if one gets a knock, they can trade the knock. So they'll split. 2 are wrapping left to get intel, and the other 2 are watching the right defilade. See, Tempo Storm should have stayed on this defi. DC would have wiped this. Actually, I think no, DC doesn't wipe them. So Tempo Storm hits AA. They're waiting for Shiv to pop. They're waiting for the other teammate to come out. So they know AA's there, but they don't know how many AA members are left. So they finished them and then immediately wrap left back to the better position, right? Now they know it's a 4-on-4 because DC just finished them. So where would you assume DC is? Right behind AA on the opposite side from where you are. So you 100% know where they are. And this is what confuses me. Tempo Storm can run into this zone really late. They've got the Defi, and they just need to run over the lip last second. For some reason, the call is to take this UAZ and swing it around to get cover. Instead, he pulls it up here with not enough speed, gets domed, and decides to get out there with no cover and just get knocked. And then they finish the vehicle because it's on low health. Your boy Dre peeks right without anyone else there to trade the knock. So you're immediately 2 members down and it's a 4-on-2. DC just sprays the car. Maluk doesn't finish medding it. And then GG. Tempo Storm played the last bit so badly that like you question why they're there, like in that last zone, but they just got fed every zone. DC played that really well at the end. They knew exactly what they were doing. So thank you for watching, guys. This has been my analysis of the first game of IEM. I hope you enjoyed it. The main strategies that you saw in that game don't really change throughout the games, other than decision making from the IGLs in each team, but I will probably go over some of the other games if I do have time tomorrow. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.